One. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ladies Tale Podcast. Yes, you guys, it's the Ladies Tale Podcast. Wait, you know something? You can't quite see my ribbon. Let me try scooting that up. Okay, that's better. I have to get my fashion right today because we have a fashionista guest. Yeah, talk about being nervous because I talk about writing all day. How would you like to write? What do you want to know about writing? That's me. Anyway, not important. None of that is actually important. Let me review. Yeah, none of that's important. I need to introduce myself, though. My name is Winona, and I'm part of the Thought Ladies. And the Thought Ladies do, I don't know, write? I mean, we talk about writing, so I guess we have to write, right? Okay, so we wrote books. We call them literary life guides with pop poetry. There's And I Thought Divorce Was Bad, And I Thought Being Grown Up Was Easy, If Only I Were Me, a Memoir in Verse, Foreign Coffee, Widow's Web, Widow's Debt. And I think that's it. Yeah, because I normally end on Foreign Coffee, but I did it early. So anyway, that's it for the audiobooks. If you can pick them up wherever you want to get your audiobooks. But if you want to know about the other 11 books that we've written, you can go to www.andithoughtLadies.com. And since Jade is not here, you know I got to do it again. Like I'm a car salesman. It's www.andithoughtLadies.com. Yeah, I just had to. I'm sorry. Back to being a lady. Yeah, no, that's not gonna work. But you're not here to hear about me. You're here to hear about our wonderful guest. Wonderful guest, would you like to introduce yourself?
Well, hello. My name is Marie Danae. I am the creator of the Curvy Fashionista.
Yes, she is. And she looks amazing. Okay, so I'm currently looking at said website. Although I should be looking at her face, I'm just looking at said website. I have one question. What gave you the courage to be like, I need to do this?
Ooh, courage. You know, I don't think of it as courage. I think of it as purpose. It's funny. I always say when man plans, God laughs, right? So we think that we're going to be doing something different, and then life will kind of course correct itself, or it will kind of get you back on the bright path that you're supposed to be on. So for me, courage is, I think, staying on that path, right? I think courage for me has been in moments of saying F all this and I'm done. Courage is staying on this path that has been kind of laid out. So that's, if I had to ascribe courage anywhere, it's more of the stick-to-itiveness than just the getting started, because getting started, you can literally take that leap and you're like, I don't know where I'm going. Let's see what happens, right? Anyone can do that, but staying on that path is a whole other game.
Oh, don't we know? Don't we know? Our entire brand was an accidental leap. We just went, wee! And then we landed on this.
Exactly.
It's been 5 years in rolling and we're still like, well, let's go. Let's ride it till the tires fall off. Anyway.
Congrats.
Thank you. Congrats to you. Your website is insanely amazing. I need to know about how you got these interviews, and then I got to get serious.
Okay. Well, first of all, I got a team, right? So like, I can't sit here and be like, oh yeah, I like, I once upon a time thought I was Superwoman. And then I realized, like, in order to grow and kind of, I had little glimpses of the vision of where I saw the brand going, and I didn't really know how to get there. And so I've been very fortunate to have certain people on the team that have helped me kind of like move things along and share their vision or their oomph or their sauce to, you know, get things to where they are, you know. No man is an island. And so for me, it was really, so like some of these interviews, like literally our contributors or our writers sent, you know, was in the DMs. They were, you know, on Twitter, they were reaching out. And so, you know, I do have the advantage or the privilege, I guess, of like how many years in the game we've been here. So somehow, some way, people have come across the Curvy Fashionista. And so with that, you know, we kind of lend that, right? We kind of have that to kind of as like a comfort, or not comfort, like a backup. We lean on that. It's our reputation, it's our branding, it's our awareness, it's all those things that, when we do reach out, we're letting them know who we are, what we do, how we do, and why we want to talk to them. And that is kind of like the first kind of step. Anytime you reach out to someone, sometimes peeps will respond, sometimes it's crickets. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, hey. And I'm like, I emailed you like 2 years ago, but whatever. But like, in all of that, and then there are some people whom I've just formed like Twitter relationships with, right? That I'm like, oh my God, we got to work with you. Like, what's good, right? And it's because of the relationship. So I would say what's going to be very key in securing any type of interviews or just growing whom you cover is really going to be about relationships, building them, establishing them. And then also, it costs nothing to be kind.
So true. Okay, no, it does cost effort and time.
No, not even that.
But I feel
because
like
if you're kind, here's the thing, there's a difference. Kind is just a state of being. Now, if you are being kind to do whatever, that means you're not kind. That means there's a strategy, there's a you know what I'm saying? There's motivation. But if you're just kind in general, that's where the honest connections happen. That's where the relationships are built. That's where, you get to understand someone's state of mind and what their passion, you get to know about them, rather than everything being like an approach to, or an angle, or a motivation. If you're just kind, someone's like, good. I'll talk about Twitter all the time because that's where I live. You won't really catch me on Insta or TikTok. You'll catch me on Twitter. Now, my team, they're on those platforms, but me individually, I am on Twitter. So I'm having these conversations, I'm liking, I'm retweeting, I'm amplifying, because they're doing dope stuff and it deserves to be amplified. I'm not doing it with the hopes that, with the thought that, like that expectation of return. I'm just doing it because I think it's dope. So that's the difference from just being kind versus, having a motive. Because then kind isn't really true to who you are. There's a manipulation there. But if you're just kind, you're not looking for that return. Like, you're just putting good karma, energy, or whatever out into the world.
Thank you for explaining that. That is so wonderful. Do you know? Nope, I'm not going into anything on that because, that's one of my smaller soapboxes. Everyone knows my big ones. It's like literary, domestic abuse survivors. There's so many. Financial abuse is one of my big ones. But yep, I'm just playing with my braids. I'm just playing with my bangs now. I am so sorry. I never do this on camera. I don't know. I think you're making me very
Girl, stop apologizing. Don't apologize. Just like, it's okay. Like, I'm probably more laid back than you probably can.
So I said I was going to get serious. So to stay true to my word, let me be serious. Business. What business angle, when you came up with this idea and you were moving forward and it started to grow, what business model did you look at and be like, this is for me?
So in order to properly answer that, you have to understand that the Curvy Fashionista started in 2008. Mm-hmm. Blogging wasn't even seen as a business model. Like, it would take you 2 years to actually get some money off of AdSense. Like, brands didn't even understand the impact of social media. I mean, at that time, 2009, Twitter just started. No, 2008 Twitter started, but it really kind of like peaked into, like, kind of became aware in 2009. Facebook didn't open up to the public until 2009-ish. Like, so there weren't really opportunities. Like, the only things we saw, I mean, think about it, a lot of media platforms didn't even move onto .coms until that period of time. Like, so everything was very kind of like, what the hell is going on? Like, I don't know what this is, but something's here. It was at the early stages of the democratization of media. And so, when I started, I was, reaching out to Patrice from Afrobella, Catherine Finney of the Budget Fashionista. I was looking up to Exo Nicole at that time, who was Nicole Vici. Like, I was looking at Angel on Fire with Concrete Loop. I was looking at Tina Craig from Bag Snob. So they were like a year ahead or two ahead of me. I was looking at like all these different media platforms that we didn't know we were media. We all started off as blogging, right? But it was a unique newness. I just finished my MBA. I initially started this web blog. That's where blog came from, right? I started my blog as like this. I initially wanted to open up a boutique. Like, that was like my like aspiration in life. But, when man plans, God laughs. And so I realized that quickly, like, this is the Curvy Fashionista is like my lane. So when it came to business models, like, I knew earlier on, not at the onset, but like as I started to kind of figure things out, that I wanted the Curvy Fashionista to sit next to Who What Wear, Refinery 29, the Zoe Report, and Bustle. Like, the only thing differentiating is that we were writing about plus size fashion from a plus size perspective. Like, not like that's our differentiator. We're plus size people writing about plus size fashion and plus size lifestyle in all of those things. Like, all the things that kind of encompass the Curvy Fashionista. And so for me, it was looking and kind of really understanding, but kind of just allowing things to kind of grow, because there was no blueprint. There was no, this is how. There was, even what should I charge? Like, there wasn't any, how do you say, like, formalities around this space until like digital brand architects came around, and they're an agency that started repping bloggers. And when deals started happening, that like we're like, holy hell, like, for me, like, I've had some crazy amazing opportunities, and even still you're like, okay, so how much do I charge for this? Like, what is this gonna be? So I do think like there isn't like a direct answer to that question, because how I started, but now it's diversified. Our business model is diversified. We bring in revenue through quite a few different elements, and it just depends. And for each media platform, it's going to be different, or the focuses are going to be different. I hope that answers your question.
No, that definitely answers the question. So of course I have to now ask about like I see a cover of a magazine. So then I'm gonna go ahead and be like, my kindness has a motive. I'm joking. This is the narcissist section of the interview. I was just wondering, so what does it take for a cute little African American with a red bow to be on your website? No, but no, what does it take for anyone to consider like?
Well, I mean, so it just depends, right? So it depends on like story angles. Like, people email and pitch us themselves, or pitch us their businesses, or pitch us. Like, I don't manage the pitches, right? I have a managing editor. I have a team. So, there are times where I'd be like, yo, check this out. But like, I still leave it up to my managing editor to make those like decisions. Like, what's really important is, their story. What's the angle? What's the story? What's the conversation? Because we are fashion first and then lifestyle second. So how do those intersect? Where do those intersect? And we oftentimes like kind of respond to what our readers are asking for, our readers are, especially if someone has a very unique story. So like our latest cover model is Danielle Pinnick. But Danielle Pinnick has a very unique story, especially since she came up on social media, on Twitter, right? Like you see her TikToks, you see her little skits, and she's really engaging and active and participative and she's really engaged. And for her show Ghosts, her character, she represents like a dark skin, visibly plus, like, character on a mainstream network channel that we haven't seen, but who is like really vivacious and kind of steals the scene in whichever she's in. But she's just as like charismatic in person. But then like, next month or April is like, oh, there's my dog Mocha. Sorry, y'all. Mocha, calm down,
It
honey.
is fine. It is so fine. We would
But
love
like,
to hear it too. I mean, if you want to show the dog, go for it.
she's right
Oh
there.
my goodness, you're so cute. Oh,
Right. But like, we're looking at like eco fashion. We have like, springtime, but we're, plus size sustainable fashion and plus size, ethical fashion and plus size is such a newer kind of conversation space. So people are looking and trying to understand. So that's going to be our focus. So it really just depends. Like half of it is just starting to build a relationship and interacting with us on social so that we get on, so that you get on our radar, right? So I think usually and that's not just with me, that usually happens with any type of platform, right? So if you are trying to raise your profile, like that may be so for you or for anyone else out there who's listening. Sometimes it doesn't always have to be in the digital cover like format. It could be in the contributor. You can be a writer. You could be you could pitch. You could offer services or solutions or provide a solution to a problem that we may not have observed, right? Like there becomes opportunity in different ways that you may not have, that I may not have, or my leadership may not have like paid attention to. So sometimes it's just like how what's the word, how innovative, how what kind of initiative do you take to be like to make those connections. For me, I would always like follow, interact, engage, build that relationship. So if I did want to ask for something, like, and I say if because just sometimes you just enjoy the hell out of someone just because they're dope, right? But if I did, I could be like, hey, so we're looking for this and you fit this, like, can we feature you? You know what I'm saying? But then sometimes folks do reach out and pitch us like, hey, this is what we're doing, this is what we're working on, and how can we support, like it's very intentional like that. And so there become ways that we can, it's really about building that relationship and sometimes just taking that initiative.
Exactly. I completely and 100% agree with that. I believe as one of the people that we interviewed a while ago, Connie Fife used to say like she was known as the queen of the ask because if she needs it, she's gonna ask.
And sometimes like we're afraid of that ask.
Yeah. I always say like, all they can do is say no. I mean, it could be a very embarrassing no, but it's still just a no. It's not gonna kill you. Ask.
Right. And sometimes the ask may actually put you on their radar because they hadn't even thought about it or haven't even considered or hadn't even thought about how that shows up or how you know what I'm saying? Like there are all these different things. So sometimes we can get, it's very important to be mindful that it's not about you. Because oftentimes we take things extremely personal, like especially in a rejection. But I've had to learn that it's not about me. Like they may not have seen the vision, but it wasn't for them to see. I may not have been what they had in mind. And regardless of whatever that is, like what is for me is for me. What is for you is for you. And can't no man take that away. So when you are walking in your purpose, when you are aligned with your why, like why you're doing it, why you're operating in this space, like how you navigate that space is going to change. How you see things is going to change. And you don't take things as personal as you would have in the past. But I've had to like literally walk through all that. It is a journey. It is a process.
So I wanted to just remind everyone, just in case, because we went on a whole nother path before I remembered that
Right,
I have to
sorry.
be a host. Go figure. So, yeah. So she said that you can pitch or develop a relationship with them on social media. And then if you see an innovative new way to solve a problem, feel free to like reach out. So yes, for all the writers out there that are like, well, how do I get on a fashion blog? Which is one of the reasons I'm doing this interview, because I'd love to know. Not that I'm going to get on a fashion blog. I just want to know. And then for my narcissist question, I need to circle back around and say, oh no, we stick in our writing brand. We'll never cross over. Anyway, next to the last question is, oh crap. I hope I didn't forget. I might have forgotten.
That's okay.
Yep, I think I forgot. Oh no. You mentioned the intersection between fashion and lifestyle. I also saw that you have the intersection of body image and politics. So how do you get something as, I don't know, some people take this seriously. They take their fashion very seriously. But to me, it's not something I'm thinking about. Hence, I mean, come on. So to me, it's more of a lighter subject and bringing seriousness together. And then still the interest of your followers.
Right. So being a plus size person is naturally inherently political. Showing up and taking space as a plus size person is inherently political. It's also being well informed of the journey of where like the awareness of plus size fashion stems from, like the activism of body positivity and fat awareness, fat politics. Like these are very parallel paths, right? And so while I'm advocating or using my influence to show and tell a brand why they need to carry up to at least a 32, that activist is also, you know, fighting the stigmas of health and I don't know, even just like kind of as a person a fat person flying in an airplane, you know, access in the seats, accessibility, or you know, our identity is naturally inherently political as a plus size person. So there are things that people need to understand, like when we kind of fuss around like only 8% of stores cater to plus size bodies. Like physical locations, only 8%. Okay. But we are 67% of the population. That's real upside down. That's going to take activism. That's going to take education, empowerment, and conversation. So these are the conversations that need to happen, because sometimes when you don't realize, like just as being a Black woman, you know, showing up into certain rooms is naturally inherently political. So when you add being a plus size Black woman, like there are layers to this in which you have to realize and recognize like that reality. And so when we bring in politics, it talks about like the hijacking or the commodification of body positivity and how brands just like hashtag the hell out of it. It has watered down its meaning. It has watered down its roots, its source, right? Its impact that it was created to create, right? So when you think about body image and body politics in the plus size space, it has a very important hand in hand kind of relationship that you have to be aware of. You know what I'm saying? So like, you know, how do you get a brand to carry your size in store? You know, it's not just a one person making that happen, it's the community. But what's very unique about plus size fashion is that we're from grassroots up versus mainstream fashion is couture houses down. So you see a lot of the innovation, creativity and audaciousness happening at this level. And then this is where like brands become inspired from the indies, where community starts paying attention, like, oh, there's something happening here. So when you think about like that intersection of body politics or body image, like these all have very much, especially too, when you think body image, when you have society telling us the ideal, the beauty ideals and norms and what they are, we all have a picture of what it is. I mean, imagine how many times as a brown skin chick, you see a commercial, how many times do you see a brown skin chick with a brown skin man? And then if she's plus, do you see a brown skin, you know what I'm saying? So all of these are bringing a, you know, it becomes like grassroots in terms of bringing awareness, bringing attention to, challenging the norms. That is inherently political. So if we're going to have those conversations, if we're fighting for, you know, representation, access, like all the things you see today, as a woman with curves, as a plus size person, has all happened because of the work of the past 15 plus years in these spaces. So prior to the different social media platforms, we was working, you know, we were challenging, we were meeting with the Lane Bryants and the Torrids and the Ashley Stewarts to be like, yo, we need more diversity. I need to see a model over a size 16. We need to see more size inclusivity. So that is political. That is challenging the societal norms. That is pushing it back against. And that is where and why it's important those intersections make sense, because there are people who are academically trained, or, you know, this is their work, the political side of it. So by shining a light on them, by doing, you know, introductory type of conversations, we allow like our readers to understand, like, this is why you matter. Just showing up and being who you are in these spaces matter, because there's a visibility that we just hardly ever see. That's why it's important.
Okay, so I did lie. I said it was next to the last question. So I'm going to make this the next to the last question.
That's fine.
It's going to be a two-parter, so I don't lie again. Okay, first of all, saw the photos of you on the web, and I just want to know, how do you do the photo shoot? Like poses and how you act in the things. And then, because I need to know these things. This is a personal question. The photo shoot question is a personal question. I need to know.
Okay.
And then number two, what advice do you have to give for anyone that's looking to come in the game now into fashion blogging, especially for curvy people?
Right. So you're a photographer, you get coached, you get, when it comes to pictures, I like to dance. I don't like to take myself so seriously. So, sorry, the ambulance is passing by me. I like to, when it comes to taking pictures, I like to have a lot of fun. And the pictures that I like are more kind of in motion or, you know, expressionary. And it's really important that you have like a photographer who can help coach that out of you. That someone who can help you understand like what you're doing with your body. Sometimes it's practice, sometimes it's just having fun and just being silly. Like, I don't like, that's been my thing, right? Because, you know, TCF started off as a blog, but we are now a media platform. I don't even identify TCF as a blog anymore. Like, we are a media platform. So even you don't see a lot of pictures of myself because it's not about me. It is about the community we serve, right? So, you know, when you're working with photographers, like sometimes to get that shot, like when you learn your body, learn the shapes you can make, learn kind of what feels comfortable, what feels uncomfortable. But sometimes it's just being very transparent with your photographer, like, yo, I want to learn how to I need guidance. I need your help. Like, sometimes being able to articulate that back to the photographer, they will help you. So, you know, as long as you feel comfortable to feel uncomfortable, then you're going to have fun with that. That's the only space where you're going to really grow. And what was your second question?
What
The
advice
second
do you
part
have
to that?
what advice do you have for anyone that's coming into the game now?
Yeah. So, what's really important is that you understand and know your why, because trying to come into the game because so and so got an opportunity that you want is going to skew your motivation and really kind of allow for bitterness or envy or all these other mindsets or emotions or feelings to cloud your purpose. It may be an entryway, but it's really important that you find your own why, hone in on that, and do what you've been called to do. So, yes, writing may be your calling, but what about writing, right? Or what about the art of fashion or the art of any of these platforms? Like, what was that motivation? Because that motivation will allow for you to really fine tune and understand. I am a nerd. Okay, I'm a bona fide nerd. I love the business of, I love the marketing side, I love the history of. I'm a walking wiki for plus size fashion. I own that. I know that my calling, my purpose is to be of resource. TCF has been that like girlfriend in the know kind of voice, like, hey girl, what you need? Okay, here's where you get it, right? Like that has been our core driving purpose, right? There are times where I tried to be like the influencer or try to be, I'm thinking I'm doing what everyone else is doing and that's what I need to be doing, but I marched to my own beat, right? I understood that my path is going to be different. It is going to look different. It is going to take a little bit longer because it is different. But I'm literally building, this media platform that can scale, that can usher in, new writers, new talent, new all these different things, because it's not about me. It is about the community I serve. But that is my why. So no matter what changes, that why stays consistent. And if you don't know your why, you're easily going to be looking at the next shiny thing. And then you'll look up being pissed because you haven't moved anywhere. So knowing and honing in on your why is what's really going to impact you and help you stay the course of whatever that is for yourself.
Thank you so much for taking the time out to be with us here today. Can you tell everyone, because as I promised, this is the last question. See, last question. I promised it. I did it. Okay. You tell everyone where to find out more information about you, and then of course how to find out about the Curvy Fashionista.
Yeah, so I'm Marie Denee at MarieDenee on all social platforms. And then for the Curvy Fashionista, we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest. I think we got a TikTok channel now, but it's the Curvy Fashionista everywhere. So if you don't be a stranger. If you have questions, DM us. We love talking. We love having conversations. So don't be a stranger.
Thank you so much for taking the time to come hang out with us today. I know I just said that, so I'm saying it again because I'm trying to be semi-professional. Like,
no, I appreciate it.
Professionalism flowing off of her.
Nah, girl. I mean, but you know what though? I've been in this game. Like TCF is turning 14 this year. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
14, and so there's I've this is just part of the process. That's all.
So you can find out everything that your ladies are doing at www.andithoughladies.com. While you're there, go down to the middle of the page. Yes, y'all. The middle of the page, not the bottom. It got an upgrade. And you can see the charities that we proudly support. We hope that you can take the time out, especially in this difficult time and then in this time of recovery, to give them a little time and attention, maybe help them out too. And we thank you in advance for doing that. Remember, y'all, that wisdom is all around you if you're open to finding it and accepting it. So peace and love, you guys, from Winona and the Missing Jade. Oh yeah, thanks for listening.